Our good buddy Ross Tucker, Westwood One, CBS Sports, NFL, college football analyst, and Princeton grad. And as Princeton was ready to pull off the upset against Arizona, this is what it looked and sounded like from Ross Tucker's household.
Yeah! Ice cream! We get ice cream! I get beer!
So that's Ross Tucker's reaction yesterday with his daughters. They get ice cream. He gets beer. Ross, congratulations, but help me understand this. You had Princeton beating Arizona yesterday, but in your bracket, you somehow have Arizona winning the next two games after that. Do you realize that?
Yes, I do. I don't know if that's allowed or not. I was actually going to try to get a ruling about that from you. First of all, by the way, that video you just showed and played, I got in trouble from my wife about that. She was not real keen on me telling the girls that I got to get beer because Princeton won and then posting that on social media. Here's the deal, Dan. I felt like I had to pick Princeton because they're my alma mater. I want to support them, but I also want to win the Dan Patrick Challenge.
Yeah.
I mean, I want to do very well in it. So what was I going to do? Pick Princeton to win that one when Arizona might go to the Final Four, might win the whole thing. So I picked Princeton to win the game, but then I had Arizona in future bracket. Am I allowed to do that?
Yeah, you can, but it doesn't help you. I'm going to have to check with the rules official. You might be DQ'd by putting Arizona to win the next two games after losing last night.
Yeah, I don't know. Usually the scoring system is like you get 1 point first round, 2 the next, 3 the next. So I thought, okay, I'll go with Princeton, but then I want to get Arizona in case they're as good as everybody says they are and they keep winning.
We're in a quandary here because great story. Princeton knocks off, a great team, or at least the potential to be a great team. And then we wonder, is Princeton a Cinderella story? I mean, you get into Princeton like you already won in life, right?
No question.
Okay.
No question. It's funny because I saw some people tweeting about how much money the Arizona boosters put into NIL for Arizona basketball, for the Arizona Wildcat players to get money. Princeton, I can tell you right now, Dan, there is no NIL. What I always tell people is you don't get money like under the table. You get business cards. And I'm just telling you, Dan, they're way more valuable. Over your lifetime, the business cards that the alumni hand you after a game, way more valuable than whatever these guys are getting for NIL or, cash in an envelope or whatever.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you, man. That was awesome. I mean, you know how it is. That was very, very cool. And you know what? A lot of people don't know this, Dan. My junior year of high school, when I first started getting recruited, I actually took a visit to a Princeton basketball game. And then that's when they beat UCLA. That's when they beat the defending national champs. That was actually like a decent factor in me choosing to go to Princeton over Harvard or William & Mary or some of the other ones was I thought they were like the athletic Ivy League. They beat UCLA in hoops. They won the Ivy League in football. So, and then my freshman year of college, they were a 5 seed. And they won the first round, and they lost to Mateen Cleaves and Michigan State in the second round. So brought back a lot of good memories yesterday. And so cool, as you know, to experience it with my daughters who are at like a cool age where they loved it. It was great.
All right. Well, let's move on to football. NFL football, free agency here, compensation package for Aaron Rodgers. If you're looking at time frame for this, like the logical time frame to get this deal done for both sides so both sides can benefit this year with the draft pick by the Jets for the Packers, Rodgers gets there, gets acclimated with the his new teammates. Where do you see this finally landing?
Yeah, I think it'll get done by the draft, and I think it'll get done before then. I just kind of think it's funny. First of all, I don't really understand. Dan, how did they not talk about this last week? Like, how did the Packers and Jets not say, hey, let's work out? First, they could have talked about it and worked out the provisions of a trade before they even let Woody Johnson and the Jets fly out to California. But you know what? Maybe the Packers were smart. Maybe the Packers thought, hey, let's let them get all involved. Let's let it get out. let's leak that they go and they meet with him to try to get the Jets fans in a frenzy so we can get even more out of this. But to me, the Jets screwed up by not agreeing to terms with the Packers before this week even happened, before Rodgers officially told them he wanted to play football for them. But I also don't really buy this. Packers have so much leverage. Listen, that switches the second Aaron Rodgers tries to show up for the first day of the Packers offseason program. Now, I don't think he would do that, but the Packers don't even want to let it get to that point. They don't want to take the chance that Aaron shows up. Then if he gets hurt, I mean, it's a mess. So I think my guess is it'll get cleared up well before then, and certainly before the draft.
The Lamar Jackson situation, he tweeted out where he said, congratulations, Orlando Brown Jr. got a contract with the Cincinnati Bengals. And then he's basically said he put everybody on notice that 31 teams are going to regret this, not going after him. Okay, who's going after Lamar Jackson? And if so, why haven't they, why hasn't there even been a hint, a sniff of this is a team that is preparing an offer here?
Well, nobody's going to go after him, in my opinion, and I'll tell you why. If you remember a year ago, okay, Deshaun Watson told the Browns, you're out. You're out. I'm going to Atlanta or New Orleans. The only reason the Browns got back in it is because they offered him the 5-year fully guaranteed deal. So we know from the Deshaun Watson situation a year ago that Atlanta wasn't willing to do it. New Orleans wasn't willing to do it. In fact, from what we know, Dan, Jimmy Haslam and the Browns were the only team willing to give that kind of contract. There was significant backlash among the owners from it. And Deshaun Watson didn't look real great last year. So it's not like that spurred on more teams to, hey, they did it, but it was worth it. We have no evidence yet that it's worth it. Plus, now you have to give up 2 first-round picks to give that to Lamar. And I think deep down, everybody knows that the Ravens would just match it. I don't think Bisciotti wants to be the guy that gives out the fully guaranteed deal and has all the other owners mad at him. But if somebody else does, then he'll just match it and he'll say to the other owners, hey, it's not on me. It's on Daniel Snyder or whoever for giving that to him. I just had to match it to keep my guy. In other words, Lamar has more value to the Ravens than any other team for a bunch of, he's by far the most popular person in Baltimore. They've built the whole organization around him. I think the Ravens are going to match what anybody else would give. And this way they can say to Lamar, hey, Lamar, you're on the market. Lamar, you're out there, and let him see what he does from there.
I still would love to see Daniel Snyder on his way out, because the report is that he's cleared out everything from his office, that he's ready to sell this team, that you bring in Lamar Jackson. Washington fans would actually have something positive to say about Daniel Snyder, that you got your quarterback, and Daniel Snyder doesn't care what it's going to cost because he doesn't have to pay it, and then he's going to walk away with a $7 million or $7 billion for his team.
You know what I think is so interesting about that? And you're right. First of all, they just gave Brissett $8 million guaranteed. So I don't think they're going to also go for Lamar. But I know a lot of people that wanted them to. I think it'd be fascinating if they did. I do believe, by the way, that the Ravens would match that. But I wonder how the prospective owners, the bidders for the Washington franchise would feel about that. On the one hand, maybe they would feel great. Hey, we got our franchise quarterback locked up for the next 5 years. On the other hand, that's a significant,
but what would Jeff
risk.
Bezos care about that kind of money if he got his quarterback and Daniel Snyder was willing to sell that team to him?
I don't think it has a big factor either way. I guess my question would be, is it a little bit of a benefit? Like, does Snyder get a little bit more money for it?
Oh.
Or is it considered a risk or a liability and Snyder gets a little bit less money for it? I don't know that.
Always good to talk to you. Good luck with Arizona moving on in the tournament there.
Thank you. Yeah, I deserve that. I deserve that now. Thanks, man.
Westwood One CBS sports analyst, Ross Tucker, football podcast, and social media at Ross Tucker NFL.